I am Akida, your chairperson for this session. Before that, I would like to announce that all participants and attendees to kindly put the phone on the silent mode throughout the session. Okay, so before that, please open the camera. We're going to take a photographic session. So all the participants, if you don't mind, please open your camera. Can you hear me? I repeat again, all the participants, please open your camera. Miss Aina, thank you. Miss Aina. Okay, Madam Hani Soleha, Madam Hajjah Noriza, and also Madam Aina. Please open your camera. Miss Aina, are you here? Miss Siti Iwana and Nurhanim Soleha. I hope all the presenters and also all the attendees in this room can open the camera. Madam Siti Iwana, can you open the camera, please? Okay, thank you. And also, Madam Nurhanim Soleha. Madam Nurhanim Soleha. Okay, thank you, Madam Siti Iwana, are you here? And also Madam Nur Aina Shakiri. Aina Shakiri, are you here? I believe in this room all of you are ladies. Okay, so the Siti Iwana, still not open the camera yet. Madam Siti Iwana. Oh, I didn't. Okay. Okay, ready? One, ready, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so for everyone attention, the presentation will take about 50 minutes. 12 minutes is allocated for presentation, another 3 minutes for Q&A session. So don't forget to fill in your attendance form by clicking the link in the chat room. Okay, so without further ado, I will call our first presenter and this afternoon, Miss Nur Aina Shakirin binti Ruslan from IPG campus. Oh, before that, I'm so sorry. Before that, let's okay, look at our first video greeting from our director.
Assalamualaikum and hi to everyone. On behalf of the ICSTEM Foundation as the organizer, a warm welcome and selamat datang to all of you. Heartfelt gratitude is extended to all distinguished speakers and participants for coming and participating in this ICSTEM 2021. I sincerely hope that all of our effort in sharing and exchanging ideas throughout this conference will create and enhance public interest as well as awareness on the importance of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics known as STEM. It is hoped that everyone enjoy this virtual conference under the new norm, and may you have a delightful and fruitful deliberation throughout the conference with us. With that note, I wish all of you happy conferencing and thank you.
Okay, so I will repeat again, the presentation will take about 15 minutes, where 12 minutes is allocated for presentation and another 3 minutes for Q&A session. So for Q&A session, please raise your hand by clicking the button to ask questions and the host will put you in queue. So 10 minutes into the presentation, I will ring the bell once. 2 minutes after, I will ring the bell twice, and we will proceed to the Q&A session. After 3 minutes of Q&A session, I will ring the bell once, and we will proceed to the next presentation. Without further ado, I will call upon our first presenter, Madam Nur Aina Shakirin binti Ruslan from IPG Campus Datuk Razali Ismail. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to the respected audience. My name is Naina Shakiri binti Ruslan from IPG Campus Datuk Razali Ismail. The title of today's presentation is The Influence of Online Learning Environment Factors with Science Training Teacher Commitment During the COVID-19 Pandemic. Without wasting any time, let us get back to business. In 2020, the whole world was surprised by the pandemic COVID-19. One of the sectors that received a huge impact from this pandemic is education sector. In order to contain the virus transmission, our government had imposed the movement control order, which led to the educational institution to be closed down for safety. This mass closure had causing the conventional learning method to shift into the online distance learning. One of the institutions that are using this new method is IPG. A research done by Abdul Rashid in 2020 found that the landscape of the education system is changing towards online learning throughout the digital platform. Most of students' higher education institutions are shocked toward these changes, and this adaptation had raised anxiety among them. One of the contributing factors to this method is the environment. This theory is supported by research done by Medicality in 2016. He said that in social learning theory, the environment can be a major influence on a person's behavior and commitment due to the interaction between nature and nurture from the environment itself. So now we move to the problem statement. In my research, I have recognized 4 problem statements. The first one is as per highlighted by Rashid in 2020. He said that higher education students felt that the learning environment at home is less suitable due to family and comfort factors. The second one is online learning requires commitment and discipline of students, especially to the students who need interaction in order to improve their social skill. Next, in a survey conducted by QS, 58% of students were not interested in pursuing online learning during the pandemic. And the last one is in India, 72.9% of respondents agree that MCO had negative impact on their psychological status while following online classes. So now let's take a look at the objective of this study. Basically, there are 2 objectives. The first one is to identify the level of online learning environment factors such as space, technology, resources, and facilities of final year science training teacher in IPG Campus Datuk Razali Ismail during COVID-19 pandemic. The second one is to identify the influence of online learning environment factor towards the commitment of final year science training teachers in IPG Campus Datuk Razali Ismail during this pandemic. This is the conceptual framework that was adapted from the learning environment model by Paul and Kumari in 2017 and the commitment model by Mayers and Ellens in 1997. I like to emphasize here that in this study, I only take into consideration the physical factor in online learning environment, which are space, technology, and resources facilities. In this case, commitment is the dependent variable, and the aspect that I look up into is the attendance, behavior, participant, and achievements. In this research, I use the quantitative design, and for the method is survey. As for the research sample, a total of 39 final year students have been chosen using purposive sampling method. The instrument used is questionnaire. I divided it into 3 sections: demographic, learning environment, and commitment. Using alpha Chromba assessment, I found out that the reliability of the survey is good. As for the data analyzed, I used 2 methods, which is descriptive statistic and regression test. Now we move to the finding for this study. For the gender, 59% are male respondents. Majority of the respondents are living in rural area. 46.2% of the respondents are using cellular data. Meanwhile, 53.8% of them are using Wi-Fi. And as for the internet speed, 69.2% respondents agree that their internet speed is on moderate level. Only 1 respondent representing 2.6% of the total respondents having a poor internet connection. To answer the first objective, from my research, it has been concluded that space had the highest level, while others just moderate. We could see that these trainee teachers felt that their space were not comfortable as they felt discomfort by their learning environment. For the second objective, by using regression tests from the research, we found that only technology factor that contribute in influencing the training teachers' commitment by 30.3%. Okay, next, throughout my reading, I can conclude that this research has been supported firstly by Professor Chenizam. She stated that whenever the learning environment is felt crowded and uncomfortable, it will be an obstacle for learning and teaching process. Silvernaden also stated that when students have lack of devices or internet problem, their willingness to pursue the online learning will be dropped because of they do not have the readiness to continue the classes. So when they do not ready, their involvement will be decreased. That could make their commitment also flop out. Last but not least, during the COVID-19, the integration of technology will be the core element for online learning process. Thus, the integration itself helped to increase student engagement and helping the educator to upgrade their lesson plan. To anybody who would like to continue this research, my suggestion would be first expanding the scope and population. It would be really interesting if we could see from the different level of students. Next, for my research, I've only considering physical aspect of learning environment, whereas adding or changing the variables such as psychosocial, interaction, or even financial will also be interested. Or changing the design by using qualitative methods such as interviewing, as it will help to see the core of what actually things that could influence the students' commitment to follow up online learning classes. I've concluded my presentation that the learning environment is an aspect that needs to be emphasized in the online learning process in order to be implemented effectively. Technological factors are key element influencing training teachers' commitment in online learning. By increasing their commitment, it will ensure the production of more competent and holistic teachers who are always ready for the evolution of education in Malaysia. I end my presentation with a phrase that said the difference between excellence and mediocrity is commitment. So for us have to have an excellent teachers, we need to increase their commitment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Puan Nur Aina Shakiri. So we open Q&A section. So for all presenter or attendees, please raise your hand by clicking the button to ask the questions, and the host will put you in queue. Any question from the attendees or presenter? Okay, Madam Nur Aina. Okay, so there is one question from here. How to identify the level of learning environment? Can you repeat again?
How what the question you asked is how
To
the level
identify the leveling of how to identify the level of learning environment.
okay. Okay, I get it. Okay, thank you for the questions, Miss Akida. So for me to identify the learning environment, the level of the learning environment, I use a questionnaire for that uh, and give it to the students, to the respondents. And it consists of 17 questions for the learning environment and about 14 questions for the commitment. And both of the questions I adapted it from the learning environment questionnaire, which is conducted by, I'm sorry, I can't remember. Yes, by the Paul and Kumari. I hope this answer your question.
Yes, thank you. So, anyone from attendee? Still have another 1 more minute for Q&A session.
Thank you.
If no, thank you so much, Madam Nur Aina Shakiri, for your presentation. Okay. So we proceed to the next presenter. I would like to invite Madam Siti Iwana Sharizah binti Abu Samah from Institute Pendidikan Guru Malaysia, IPGM. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jefferson. I hope everyone can see me and hear my voice.
Yeah, sure.
I would like to share my slide. Can you hear me, Miss?
Okay. Yes.
I have trouble with my internet connection. Can you play my slide?
Sure. Just wait for a moment.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Iwana Sharizah binti Abu Samah. I'm from Pusat.
I still have a connection problem here.
Present a conceptual framework
keep
for
going. You
teachers'
can
involvement in
see
STEM
your
teaching
Yeah.
and learning at
slide
preschool.
here.
Yeah.
STEM or Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics is one of the 6 standards from the National Preschool Standards Curriculum or NPSC and known as Curriculum Standard Prasekolah Kebangsaan Semakan 2017 and are integrated with critical, creative and innovative thinking. The science and technology strain emphasizes scientific knowledge, skills and attitude as well as mathematical knowledge and skill. This strand comprises of early science and early mathematics. One of the aspirations of the NPSC is to produce pupils with a 21st century skill, focusing on thinking skill and living skill as well as their future careers, which are based on moral values. According to the preschool profile, the 21st century skills aims are to produce pupils with the characteristics such as communicators, thinker, and inquisitive. The content in National Preschool Standard Curriculum will help the teachers to plan and execute teaching and learning effectively with enriching and fun learning experiences for pupils for engaging them actively in conducive and safe environment. To ensure that STEM education is truly exposed to students, passive teaching methods in the classroom need to be transformed into active learning that emphasize creative ideas and high-order thinking skills, or HOTS. STEM strategy is a key initiative in the Malaysian Education Development Plan, PPPM, from 2013 to 2025. Yet, only 47% of students follow STEM streams in the country based on the report of 2017. According to Trend in International Mathematics and Science Study National Report 2019 or TIMSS, clarity of teaching is closely to student achievement. Malaysia shows clarity teaching higher than the international percentage in both mathematics and science. Malaysian students who like to learn and appreciate mathematics and science were also found to be higher than the international percentage compared to the international average. However, the achievement of Malaysian students is still low in both subjects compared to the international average. Among the known causes certainly may affect the student achievement is due to the confidence of Malaysian students against mathematics and science were found to be lower than international average. Therefore, various efforts need to be intensified by various parties to help increase student confidence in both of these subjects. Throughout the National Preschool Standard-based curriculum, STEM at preschool are most focused on fostering curiosity and engaging with preschool children. The content that they learn at preschool are basic skills and knowledge essential for pupils as preparation for primary education. In order to attract preschool children with STEM readiness need to be implemented as early as preschool. From the literature review, 2016, from the research making the case for STEM in early childhood education by Christine D. Tippett and Todd McGrath, they found there's a general lack of STEM teaching among the early childhood education teachers. And they also found that STEM as a useful approach to planning activities that fostered students' curiosity about the world around them. In 2018, from the research Pre-Engineering Thinking and the Engineering Habits of Mind in Preschool Classroom by Lippert et al., they found that teachers need help to plan and implement activities that students can actively involve in the activity. While in 2019, from the research of kindergarten teachers' attitude towards and confidence for integrated STEM education by Yingtong, they found the majority of kindergarten teachers are not convinced to teach STEM. Along 2019, from Amina Ayub, reports from the STEM and STEM in early childhood education in Malaysia, the researcher recommends STEM courses to teacher trainings and professional development. In 2020, from the research of preschool teacher readiness for STEM implementation in Malaysia by Nur Aziza Abdul Rahman, they found interest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM, need to be nurtured early in the childhood. Therefore, they suggest preschool teachers need to be trained to be a STEM specialist, and they also suggest to implement STEM education at the preschool level to ensure the continuity. Finding from the research, activities planned should be able to provide enriching and fun learning experience for pupils by engaging them actively in a conducive and safe environment. Teachers are encouraged to creatively choose, arrange, devise, and develop various activities based on the learning standards that cater to the needs of preschool children. Teachers are encouraged to appreciate and implement the requirements which are specified in the curriculum in order to achieve its aim and objective. The content that children learn in preschool are basic skills and knowledge essential as preparation for primary education. However, research studies have shown that preschool teachers are not convinced to teach STEM. This is because preschool children have different levels of focus and interest. Preschool teachers are facing the challenge in preparing for teaching and learning that integrated with STEM. This is because they don't have a formal science background. The preschool teachers are also need an assistant to improving their knowledge and skill to conduct STEM activities in preschool. A study on preschool teacher engagement should be carried out to formulate STEM teaching and learning activities in preschool. Therefore, this study proposed an interactive module of STEM as a guide for a teacher engagement in STEM teaching and learning at preschool. The purpose of this study is to guide teachers to plan STEM teaching and learning activity based on the National Preschool Standard Curriculum 2017. Second, to improve teachers' knowledge, skills, and teaching STEM at preschool. And the last one is to guide teachers to plan inquiry practice based on STEM activities. Figure 1 shows how minds, brains, and education science influence experience of young children. There is 3 components from this Venn diagram. The first one is what we know about the brain from neuroscience. The second one, what we know about the mind from the psychology. And the third one, what we know about the education from the studies of pedagogy. And these 3 components integrated and make experiences for young children. To maximize the intellectual development among the young children, CAS 2003 suggested that the overlap of the quality of process, product, and content should be increased. Therefore, the children will have a wide maximum experiences. What we can see on the right is the integrated between content, process, and product are shown broader, and the children will have a more experience while they're doing their project work. This study proposed a conceptual framework. The frameworks have 4 components. There are inquiry-based science education, integrated, alerts, and the last one is project or portfolio. For the first component, inquiry-based science education, there is 5 E's it includes. They are engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. These 5 E's will include through the planning activities and ongoing activities. The component also have a predict, observe, and explain throughout the activity. And before the ending the activities, the teacher will do reflection or feedback. The second component is integrated among the subjects, such as science, mathematics, technology, language, and moral value. And the third components are alerts. The teacher will alerts about the misconceptions while they're doing the plannings and alerts about how the children learn to understand. The last one is project and portfolio are being done by thematic, mini, and ongoing. Before I ended my presentation, I would like to say thank you to the University Malaysia Terengganu and the Pusat STEM Negara for organizing this event. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Siti Iwana Shaliza. So I open Q&A session. For all presenter and attendees, if you have any questions, please raise your hand by clicking the button, and then the host will put you in queue. So we open the Q&A session. Anyone of you? Okay, never mind. Madam Siti Iwana, okay. Can you repeat again? How to maximize the intellectual development? Madam Iwana, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Madam Iwana? Can you respond to my questions just now? Okay, how to maximize the intellectual development? We cannot hear your voice. Madam Siti Iwana? Can you respond to my question? Okay. So I think maybe Madam Siti Iwana have a technical problem. It's okay. Never mind. All right. So thank you so much to Madam Siti Iwana. All right, for your nice presentation. Okay. So if no questions here, I will proceed to the next presenter, our last presenter for this afternoon, Madam Nurhanim Soleha binti Muhammad Saidi from Institute Pendidikan Guru Kampus Datuk Razali Ismail. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. I bid to all participants of the ICSTEM 2021 program. I am Nurhanim Soleha binti Muhammad Saidi, together with my group members, which are Dr. Mas Nurbani binti Abu Samah and Dr. Badrul Muin binti Muhammad Adam. For information, I am a graduate from IPG, while other group members are my lecturers. Today, I will present my study entitled Knowledge, Skills and Interests of Trainee Teachers Majoring in Science on the Readiness to Use Dual Language Program DLP. According to Nur Hashikin Hamaluddin 2019, Dual Language Program is an academic program for the schools to have the teaching and learning in two languages, the official spoken language and English. DLP is also a continuation of the second wave of the Malaysian Education Development Plan PPPM 2013-2025 and is being implemented gradually in selected schools throughout Malaysia. Ministry of Education Malaysia 2019. DLP gives the option for the schools to use English in the teaching and learning of science and mathematics subject as set by the MOE. The intention of implementing DLP is to support the students' mastery of English language skill. Besides, it provides opportunity for students to explore various fields of knowledge to compete globally. Selangor State Education Department 2017. At the same time, DLP also enhances literacy skills among students and teachers. There are 4 problem statements that I will present. First, Ministry of Education stated only a small proportion of teachers were able to teach science and mathematics entirely in English, Mayan 2017. The effectiveness of DLP depends on the teaching and learning process in the classroom. Therefore, teachers play an important role as a medium of knowledge dissemination. According to Nur Hisham Shamsuddin, 2018, students' mastery in science through the DLP program is based on the teacher's teaching strategy. Teachers need to master concepts and terms, teaching strategies, and approaches based on interest so there will be no misinterpretation throughout the teaching process. Readiness is a level that must be achieved by a trainee teacher to perform a task or job effectively. Trainee teachers are an influential component in the establishment of high education quality. Therefore, any process of improvement on the education system could not be done without the support of highly skilled trainee teachers. The implementation of the DLP program requires a high level of readiness aspect by trainee teachers, which includes knowledge, skills, and interests of trainee teachers. I have divided the objective of my study into 4. First, to identify the level of knowledge of science major trainee teachers on their readiness to implement DLP. Second, to identify the skill level of science major trainee teachers on the readiness to implement DLP. Third, to identify the interest level of science major trainee teachers toward the readiness to implement DLP. And fourth, to identify the level of differences in readiness to implement DLP with the perspective of trainee teachers in IPG. Based on the objective of the study, there are 4 research questions that can be identified. First, what is the level of knowledge of science major trainee teachers on readiness to implement DLP? Second, what is the level of skills of science major trainee teachers on the readiness to implement DLP? Third, what is the level of skills of science major trainee teachers on the readiness to implement DLP? And lastly, is there any significant differences in the willingness to implement DLP with the perspective of trainee teachers in IPG? According to Nadia Hasbullah and Melo Yunus 2018, the effectiveness of the dual language program DLP depends on the teacher's perception on the readiness in implementing DLP, the teacher's competency level as well as the resources provided to the teachers. Teachers should improve their knowledge level, training and self-skills. Theory of Conditioning by Edward Thorndike, 1911, which includes the law of readiness and the law of training. Edward Thorndike defines the law of readiness as the ability of an individual in initiating any learning activity. Besides, Amadi 2018 mentions the significant factor in improving the teacher's readiness is the interest based on the Edward Thorndike's law of readiness. Furthermore, the law of training involves the relationship between stimuli and response. If continuous training is carried out, the relationship between stimuli and response will be stronger compared to the previous training. In addition, I also refer to the Bryan Educational Process Model 1974, which identified 3 main factors in order to determine the effectiveness of educational practice. It includes input factors, pedagogical strategies, and attitude. According to Nur Fatahiyah 2020, input factor refers to the teacher's knowledge. Meanwhile, the pedagogical strategies refer to the teacher's skills. Based on the theories and model that I have mentioned, I can conclude that the readiness of the trainee teachers in the DLP implementation includes the construct of knowledge, skills, and interests. Based on a research conducted by Nur Hisham Shamsuddin and Nur Azilawati Abdullah 2018 entitled The Readiness of Primary School Science Teachers Toward the Implementation of DLP, I found out the knowledge level, skills, and interests of the teachers are at the moderate level. Meanwhile, another research entitled An Evaluation of the Implementation of DLP Among Science and Mathematics Teachers by Nur Azilawati Abdullah 2019 highlights the construct of the teacher input, which include model, which includes knowledge, skills, and confidence level, is at the moderate level. However, the process construct, which include approaches, teaching strategies, and assessment, are recorded at a high level. This section covers the research design, population, and sample of the study. This study is designed as a survey research, and it is a quantitative study. Quantitative data were recorded by using a set of questionnaire. Then the data of the study were collected and analyzed descriptively and inferentially. The study population involved a total of 238 IPG trainee teachers representing the eastern, northern, and central regions in Malaysia. These are the list of IPG involved in the data collection. It is IPGK Datuk Razali Ismail, IPGK Pulau Pinang, and IPGK Teknik. For the study sample, I used the Kirchi Morgan 1970 sample determination table, in which a total of 148 people were selected as the sampling of the study. The selected sample has a similar characteristic of the original population in which they are pursuing in the science education program. Furthermore, for the instrument used in the data collection, I have modified an instrument from a study conducted by Nur Hisham Shamsuddin 2018. A set of questionnaires is divided into 4 main sections. In section A, it is specifically for the demographic information of the respondents, which includes gender, semester, IPG, SPM grade for English subject, and previous experience in PPSMI. Meanwhile, for section B, C, and D, each section covered the construct knowledge level, skills, and interests of the respondents. Each construct in the questionnaire is composed of 10 items using a Likert scale. The Cronbach alpha for each item in the questionnaire are 0.869, 0.779, and 0.790 respectively. For the data collection procedure, the first step is the validation of the research instruments by the supervisors and experts. Lecturers and expert lecturers is conducted before proceed to the next step. Secondly, the pilot study was conducted and proceed with the third step, which is the verification of the research instrument. Fourth, the distribution of the instruments is carried out to the respondents of the study. Final step is the data finding. The data that has been collected will be analyzed. First, I have constructed a profile table of study respondent, frequency and percentage. Second, test for the normality of skewness and kurtosis. Third, descriptive analysis of mean and standard deviation of construct. And the fourth is the interpretation of the data's construct level and its report. The final step is inferential analysis ANOVA to identify significant differences between the willingness to implement DLP with the perspective of trainee teachers. The findings of the study are as the same as the study conducted by Nur Hashikin Hamaluddin 2019, which is the level of knowledge is at a high level while the level of skill and level of interest are at a moderate level. As for the inferential analysis, I have used the ANOVA test and found no significant difference in the willingness to perform DLP with the perspective of trainee teachers in IPG. The result of the study found that the level of knowledge of trainee teachers is high. This proved that the trainee teachers have mastered the concept of DLP and have sufficient knowledge of the science content used in the existing curriculum. In addition, science subjects require emphasis on the fact, concept, and theories acquired by the teacher helps in the school session. In addition, I found that the level of skills and interest of the trainee teachers was moderate. A study by Siti Salina 2018 found the implementation of DLP plays a role in creating a fun learning environment. Nur Hashikin Hamaluddin 2018 also stated that if this method can be well implemented, then the confidence level of speaking English among the teachers will also increase. The findings by Nadia Hasbullah and Melo Yunus 2018 stated most teachers agreed that they have not mastered English yet and more comfortable to teach using Malay language. Therefore, a prerequisite for schools to implement DLP is the readiness of the teachers. Malaysian Digest 2016 states young trainee teachers have a better readiness for the implementation of DLP. The findings of the study also found that there was no significant difference between the readiness of trainee teachers based on the perspective of trainee teachers in IPG. This study is different from the study conducted by Siti Noor 2019, where she outlined the perspective involving skills of teachers, attitude and interest to make changes in implementing the teaching process. Next, the conclusion of the study: trainee teachers should be prepared with sufficient knowledge and skills such as the use of scientific terms in English as well as good English comprehension skill. Secondly, the level of the knowledge, skills, and interest that could produce a teacher who is optimistic and compassionate when it comes to his or her pupils. Thirdly, the level of readiness of the trainee teachers in terms of knowledge, skills, and interests should be highlighted, as the trainee teachers play a significant role in the society as the agent of change and an excellent role model to the society. The implications of the study are divided into two, specifically towards the trainee teachers of majoring in science course and the IPG as well as the Ministry of Education MOE. For the trainee teachers majoring in science course, this study could provide useful information on the current readiness of the trainee teachers for the DLP implementation. Besides, trainee teachers able to improve themselves in terms of knowledge, skills, and interest in order to be prepared in their future career. In addition, the implication for IPG and Ministry of Education MOE is through the implementation of programs, courses, or DLP workshop seminar, specifically for trainee teachers. Furthermore, the parties involved also could increase their collaboration between an MOE and the English Language Teaching Center, ELTC. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Nurhani Soleha. So again, we open Q&A session. If any one of you, presenter or attendee, have a question, just raise your hand by clicking the button and the host will put you in queue. Any questions from attendee or presenter? So if there is no question from the attendee or presenter, we will end this presentation. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so all the presenters have presented their presentation very clearly. So thank you for the informative presentation. Hopefully, all the sharing done today will be useful in your teaching method. I believe many good experience have been shared and good lesson learned today. With that note, again, I thank to all of you. Okay, before that, I would like to remind all the presenter and the attendees, please join us in the room here for the second plenary 2 at 4:30 p.m. So I will end this presentation with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Madam Akida.
Thank you, all of you. So all of you can go to the
Okay,
ballroom.
thank you to all.
Come. Please join our last plenary 2 in the ballroom. We have Professor Dr. N. Kotek, Professor Science Education, Sultan Idris Education University. Okay. Thank you so much.